This is SmokeSum Podcast. I'm the visionary mind. I see it, I think it, I make it happen. We got my guy back here with me. We got my bro. And we were one of the top brands in Michigan, one of the purest brands you can try. These guys are two cool guys. They let us tour their facility. They're very passionate about what they do. We have some very special guests, cultivators, visionaries, marketing geniuses. We got introduce yourself.
Take that. My name is Parker. I'm one of the owners, and I'm responsible a lot for just like managing top down from stuff here and bringing in new genetics and doing a lot of our breeding and feno-hunting.
Yeah.
And I'm Alex, and I run the lab here. I'm also one of the owners, but I manage the lab and make sure everything comes out looking nice for everybody.
For sure. So I kind of want to start in y'all, in the background, the beginning. Like, how did you guys have a passion for cannabis and pure products and to the step?
Well, it started with I don't know how much do I need to lean in. Do I need to lean in a lot?
No, you good. You good. We can hear you loud and clear.
All right. So it all started kind of after we were always buddies and selling weed and stuff, but it really took off when we tried some distillate carts, and that's kind of how our adventure started when we came back from a trip to Cali, and I showed Alex. I was like, hey, dude, these carts I got in Cali, they're thick. The bubbles don't move.
Yeah.
They taste like it says bubblegum Kush. It tastes like bubblegum Kush. It says pineapple blast. It tastes like that, and the people out there are telling me it grows like that. I know that's not true, but I know we can do that here. And so we started, kind of looking into that a lot more. And, I was like, oh, well, how do we flavor, distillate to get it to be, what we want?
Right.
But as we were on that path, we were always still smoking live resin. Mm-hmm. And, whether it was CO2 extracted, because that was something we were really about. We really thought that was cool. Tried a lot of great CO2 products over the years. And then we were just kind of looking at an angle and where to take our business at one point. And Alex over here actually was like, dude, have you ever heard of rosin? And I was like, I mean, you mean resin, dude? And he's like, no.
It's a difference.
You mean rosin? And I was like, no, I've never heard of it, man. And he, showed me a little bit about, and I was like, oh, like water, heat, and pressure only? Like, yeah, this is the shit. Like, we'll do this. So, yeah, and like, that was like 6 or 7 years ago, right? But then, just from that point forward, we just, we turned all of our plants to really about 6 years ago just for hash purely, freezing everything because we just wanted to make sure that we had enough hash to process, enough for everybody to smoke, and we didn't want to find something in the garden and then miss it in the washroom because that's something we've always heard about people over the years. Like, I wish I would have washed this plant. Yeah. It's a horror story in the year, right? Over the years when you're like, oh, you lost that one? They're like, yeah, but I promise you it would have been fire. So we just never want to miss that, and that's, our ethos. And so we just grow everything for hash, freeze everything for hash, hunt everything for hash, and live for hash.
For sure. How about from your perspective?
Well, he pretty much laid it all out. But so what made us stand out back then was like you were talking about the purity of everything. So this was back in the day of like Dank Vapes and Mario Karts and stuff. So like everybody was saying this is the best thing, you got to get this, and we were literally buying those off of people and testing them, and then showing people the tests and being like, you don't want to buy that,
right?
And so we made sure that as we were doing our processes, that we were going through and testing what we had to make sure that we could show the market that what we were providing was actually better than what they were used to getting. Right. And that's kind of, and then hit a better price point, right? So that's kind of been our goal from the beginning. It's kind of been our business model, more or less. Just try and do what everyone else is doing better and ideally not cheaper, but
So like, what mistakes were they making, or what some common mistakes people can make when producing such products?
I think that the devil is in the details and everything. So, everything in how tight your lids are when you package, how tight your lid is when you cure, transporting it from your facility out places. storage processes of stores, intake processes, and a lot of those are out of your hands. And so that's why, it's in the details, because you can't communicate about those details. You don't have them bleed out. If you don't know, unknown unknowns are also something that I tease about a lot. Because how do you know about unknown unknowns?
Right.
And so that's an interesting one. But other than that, I would say, thinking that you always produce the best, and that you're never above changing or above thinking that like you have more hunts to do or more products to go through. Because I see a lot of great weed, from a lot of people in Michigan, not just us, and that's what honestly keeps us in check too. Because without a healthy amount of competition and other people making sure that they know what they're doing, can other people just put out crap. And I think that's what you have to do the most as a grower. Put that mirror to your face and say, hey, am I producing the best? How can I be better? What strains do I need to be better? And just constantly, picking at yourself in that way and those details, because that's what really matters when you're producing.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys are originally from Indiana. So, like, how did Indiana play a part into, like, seeing different things? And, like, because we never really hear about, like, the Indiana thing, obviously, because it's illegal. But how did growing up from that environment kind of pinpoint to where you are now?
I'll let Alex speak this one first, and I'll take it second.
Well, full transparency. I mean, obviously we've been doing this for a while. But I had run in with the wall when I was 19. Okay. And that kind of set things in motion for me. Right. I probably could have stopped with the weed, right, but it was always something I was very passionate about. So I just kept doing it. And this, I'll always tell anybody, if you like something, keep doing it, because it'll eventually pay off. Yeah. And I mean, here we are. So it didn't go the way I thought it would go. It's not what I thought it would be, but we're here and we're doing it and we're making the best of it.
Path was not straight. No, it was winding. Those straws you get as a kid and they're like super twisty? Yeah. That's what it felt like.
No, but it kind of, I felt locked in. It's always been a lifestyle that I like. I'm comfortable with it, and I like what it represents. I like what it does for me and others. I like how it represents as a medicine. I know we're not a medical facility, but like it really does help people get through life. So like, I'm for it. Sure, always good shit.
Yeah, and I agree with a lot what Alex said there. And from my side, also, I'd add just I think growing up in Indiana and trying to sell and really do cannabis there, not there, but do cannabis and living there and having to move our lives up here. And there's a good point in time where we were driving up, probably, we were spending 3 or 4 or 5 days out every week up here, away from our families for like 2 or 3 years in a row while we were building the place and maintaining gardens up here and doing a lot of stuff. So from that point of view, it was difficult. But the cannabis community up here in Michigan it's like night and day to Indy. In Indianapolis, I would say, and Alex can attest to this, it's hard to trust people, when you're dealing, especially years ago. But now in Michigan, it's a lot easier, right? Because it's real, and you have faces and good relationships, and people care about maintaining those. Whereas, in the trap side, you had people who cared about it, but also a lot of people who were just
here you go.
Yeah, get a buck, or this isn't what I was promised, right? And so, I think just transferring over, it's also learning how to go from, that mindset into a thing that's into a operation and a business, that's fully legal, and kind of thinking about, okay, well, it's really cool to be able to share all this with other people and be open about it, and you no longer have to kind of worry about who you're sharing stuff with or whose mom may overhear that you have some plants growing or something like that. And and when you're past all of that, it's like night and day living to where we were. So that's I guess that's what I've done.
Yeah. I realized I got off track with that question about Indy. So the fact that we were doing what we were doing, like there's like the risky factor, like you feel like it feels a little bit cool, and then it stops being cool after a certain point. Yeah, and then but then the transition from that to this has been fun. Getting used to posting, getting used to taking videos, pictures, and all that, because like for years it was like no pictures, no video, no.
Don't promote to everybody. Don't be your own best self-promoter, right?
It's like, nope.
Less is more.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Word of mouth only.
Right.
Yeah.
That has been a trip, like posting on social media and stuff like that, and like being able to.
But don't you kind of like, I obviously now as a business, it's like, okay, you have to, but don't you kind of miss those like rarities where weed was kind of like not limited, but you had to like, it was just more of, if you know,
Yeah.
like if it was just like,
You had to know the guys had the good stuff. Now there's good stuff everywhere.
I don't know. I like both perspectives because like I like how there's plenty of options for customers to choose from. Right.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's what I think we always dreamed of being able to choose when we were aficionados. You know, young 20-year-olds being like, I wish we could get all the CO2 wax or all the different things here in Indy. Right. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really cool. But I also really want to make sure the plant is always valuable and it's meaningful and people always appreciate it. And so I think as long as you can have, the genetics that stay true to what the plant is or the story stays true, that's what really matters for me because, we'll be given cuts over the years that, people can say, whatever, you got this cut forever, this cut is this genetics.
right.
But who knows where they all came from, right, when you're just given a cut. And so what I always like to practice is just being true to the plant, whatever the genetics are, what the story is of that plant. If an old timer gave me that cut and said, hey, like this is what it was. I've had this cut for, 5 or 10 years. Yeah. Okay, well, then that's the story I tell because that's what I find really cool about, missing because your boy would always know back in the day or at least say what it was, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. There's that we lose the mystery a little bit.
Yeah.
But back in the day, it was always kind of
hazy, like
maybe we're always lied to, right, by our guys selling us our packs.
Oh, this is from Cali, yeah.
Yeah. This is some Cali indoor, and it was Deps, and we didn't know the difference, right?
Since we on this topic, and y'all from Indiana, what was some of the more Indiana dominant strains? What was something in Indiana that you never heard of here?
Oh, well, the thing about Indiana is there's less people growing it in Indiana, so everything's either from like Cali or Oregon or Michigan now, but
I felt like we saw a ton of Bruce Banner, a ton of a Blackjack,
Jäger Kush,
Jäger, ton of Jäger, a ton of Skywalker OG and Blue Skywalker.
Yeah, which probably was the same thing, but
just
named it differently.
Or one time it got hit by the Herm of the Blue Dream, and that's why it's the Blue Skywalker, right? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but that's what came through a lot. I think I never saw the Indiana bubble gum, but that's the only cut I know of that's like true to Indiana that people always say is like it's some really fire weed, kind of grows a little bit pink and has a super sweet hubba bubba smell.
Right.
And never seen it, but
Death Star.
Yeah.
Death Star, I think Death Star's in Ohio, like really known for Ohio. Yeah.
And what was your favorite or go-to at that time?
Jäger Kush. Sleepy stuff.
I feel like I'll share in some of Skywalker OG earlier. That one was definitely really fire. Mm-hmm. But also anything like any Hawaiian strain is something I always try to look out, or anything Maui Wowie cross. Because I'm a big Kid Cudi fan. Mm-hmm. All right, back in the day, and so trying to go to Honolulu, trying to get that Maui Wowie. And so. Yeah, that's one strain that also I would love to hunt and work with and bring back. You guys were kind of asking me that question earlier. But Maui Wowie, I think if we could find something like that wash.
That's fire. Oh, man. That's different, too, because you don't.
Yeah, I don't see Maui Wowie
that's a strain
anymore.
that I haven't seen in at least in about 7 years.
Big in cannabis. Big in, like, the usable side of cannabis, too.
What do you mean by that?
Like, with the Wiz Khalifa's, are you tapped into the cannabis? Cannabis has its own rapper.
Yeah.
So are you in tune with those?
For sure, yeah. Like, I don't know them personally. But yeah, like...
It was a homie,
yeah, like Wiz, Currency. Uh-huh. Yeah, honestly, Currency, because he was a little underground for a while. I still find new stuff that comes out by him on YouTube every now and again. But I feel like a lot of those guys back in the day.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Flapper Zombies.
That's different, yeah. They do kind of have that like stoner kind of appeal to it.
Yeah, also a little mushroom stoner. Too. I think little psych vibes. Yeah. Definitely in the like, Flatbush.
Yeah, but no. So back to the Indiana part. Do you think they'll ever become legal? being from?
I hope so. I hope it's so at some point. I hope it goes through, at every state at some point in a reasonable fashion.
Yeah.
Because, as we're a smaller company, we're also, I would always hope to come back to my state, be able to provide, what we do back to, our friends and our family and people who like us back there. So that would be really awesome. But we'll just have to see what the future holds, what the powers there be, above us decide to do. So
Right.
I don't think it will. And
I agree with you.
And that is because Indianapolis and most of Indiana is run by hospitals and big pharma. And Eli Lilly funded the beginning of Indianapolis, and so I don't think we're gonna get legal weed in Indiana unless pharma tries to push it.
Right.
But that's why we came up here, because
we didn't think it would go over anytime soon.
Yeah. What was the decision, and what was coming to Michigan initially, pursuing your dreams?
Well, he touched on it a little bit earlier. The first 4 years of this was really, at first it was just weekends up here, and then it became weekdays up here and weekends at home. Right. And then, I was couch surfing. I didn't even have a place in Indy anymore. I was staying with my girl at the time, and I was driving up here for 5 days couch surfing, and then I would go back home for 2 days and do it again.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to be closer now, and it's nice to be able to come every day and not have to worry about anything. But it definitely makes life up a bit.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the move was definitely frustrating at first, just getting everybody up here, because to speak a little bit of it, we also have a couple other of our employees moved up from Indianapolis too.
Okay.
Shout them out, Dylan and David, AO.
Shout out to them.
They, been working with them for many years, and David's our presser, and Dylan handles a lot of fulfillment. But, moving the entire team up here, I think, from my perspective, was pretty stressful to get everybody settled in, because I'm trying to make sure everybody's enjoying their new lives, happy overall, and that I think that coupled with the business turning on, was pretty stressful on everybody. But we all really stepped up to the challenge and enjoyed the work. It wasn't that it wasn't tiring, but man, we all really came together as a team. Anything that we had to get over, we've come together and done it, and I think that's really important, because that really shows, how strong we are as a team and what we can get through. But at the end of that, too, the people are all less stressed and they're adapting more and they feel more comfortable. So I think it just took, just a time thing to adapt to new situation and really also new situation being in metric. So there's a couple changes going on for a few people on this team all at the same time. But the last couple months here in the summer really felt great, and it felt like, we're really hitting our stride and really putting out a lot of fire. And so I know a little bit more than answer your question, but that's just kind of how it feels. It's been a slog for a couple of years, and finally, seeing a little bit more of the sweetness in what we do. For
sure. So just to go back a little bit, how was it like with your experiences being caregivers? Like, I know you guys came from being caregivers to the metric market. How was it like being caregivers?
So I think the biggest difference or change is that as a caregiver, you get to go to these different events and sell your own products and say, hey, this is Papaya, or this is Peel Out, and this is why I like it. This is the notes I get off of it. Whereas now our products are distributed at dispensaries, and we don't get to tell our story anymore. So one thing I loved, about being a caregiver is the face-to-face you get, and, just explaining and having be able to talk terps and see what's going on, and really be able to get a feedback, too, from the customer, because that's what we thrive on. It's ground feedback, right, when you're at that point.
Yeah.
But now we're a little more separated from that, because the dispensaries sell it. So I think that's one of the biggest changes, is trying to get customers educated, bud tenders educated, and getting the message that we want out there in our own words, repeated as much as we can, because that has a lot of value in making sure, the message that we would say as caregivers at our booth back in the day is the same message that consumers get now.
Right.
And that, I think, is a difficult, gap to try to get over.
Yeah.
Say no bud tender is ever going to be as passionate about our product as us talking about it. So that was always really cool to be able to show people like, hey, we just made this with our hands last weekend and we brought it to show you and like we're really proud of it. What do you think? Like it's just there's nothing like that.
And I will say that like when I do go to dispensaries or do go to different events and I'm asking questions about like, you know, what's the top brands, everybody always says like you guys' brand because, you know, like I said, a lot of people aren't really educated on like rosin and resin and hash and that type of different things.
Yeah.
So when the dispensaries that I have been to, they've always, you know, tried their best to educate.
Yeah, we've noticed that rosin and like some of the higher tier stuff that are at dispensaries are really enjoyed by the bud tenders. The bud tenders tend to be some of the most educated on like the forefront of
what's going on.
what's going on. Yeah. And people love the solventless stuff. So especially the bud tenders. Oh, no butane?
So what's the hardest part about y'all trying
With each other. It's funny, but
yeah, I mean that's we've known each other for 11 years now. We sold for that entire time, so definitely some bickering happens.
Yeah.
But I mean I think in business wise at least, man, pick a day. I probably have something else to say, because it's you solve one problem one week and it's like the next week that problem resurfaces, or they're cyclical, right? They come back, but. I think it's just trying to make sure you have enough packaging in on time to make sure everything's going out as smoothly as possible, because you want to make sure that your stuff is tiered correctly when you're putting it out, and you don't want to put out something that's subpar. And so I think that's just an issue because we'll run a strain and it'd be a new one and we may not buy labels for it yet because we're like, oh, we don't know how it performs, and make them out, and we're like, all right, not going to the Bucks. And so at that time you have to wait more time to order the stuff to see what it's like after it's cured and all that to really go forward. So I think that one, and just kind of and the education piece, communicating to the consumer what's going on, why the strain is what it is, and what the different products are in that education piece.
Yeah. So how long have you guys been working together?
decade.
Yeah, going on, I think, our 11th year. Yeah.
Have you talked about school together? Or
I just turned 31 and
Just trapping together. Yeah, just trapping together. Yeah, we've been selling weed and pens and wax and for a very long time.
apparently we met while we were at IU, but we both were only
No,
there for 1 year.
No, my buddy bought one of my buddies that I went to high school with bought wax off of you. Yeah,
Allegedly.
allegedly.
Yeah.
That ain't never happened.
We don't even say the person's name. We know the person's name.
Rewind.
Oh, yeah, we're not out the person right now, right?
It's all good. We can edit that out of post.
Yeah, it's okay.
No, apparently there was one time he did say he had entered my dorm room at one point while we were at college.
His roommate sold me the goods
Yeah, one time. But we didn't meet back then. Didn't meet till
years later. And then, actually, funny enough, side point, one of my best friends in childhood knew him in high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so a few different ways,
watch out for me.
we're gonna bounce into each other and we paths finally crossed, and
What about that guy?
we've been growing probably for about 5 years, but he's 6 now.
Yeah.
He's 6.
So you was the man. It sounds like.
No. No, I had fun. I had a lot. I saw a lot of people. It was a cool lifestyle. I do miss it a little bit, but it's a little more lonely up here in this small town. I would say. It's a slight population difference, but
Yeah. So like you guys, like from my perspective, came to Michigan and just basically sold out very easily. Like, what do you think that says about the Michigan market to accept your products and it being very well, but then just selling out and like becoming this big name, like literally like overnight?
Well, I mean, for us, I guess it doesn't feel like overnight. For us, it feels like a lot of people didn't know about us when we were caregivers, and when you're, speaking a little bit to how you can advertise yourself, you only got Instagram. You feel like you can't tell so many people sometimes. So So you want to kind of be cautious, and then your Instagram gets shut down, so then how people get a hold of you, right?
Right.
So it definitely feels, you know, like I was saying, a little bit sweeter and sweeter each day as we progress and get further and start to feel less weight on our shoulders. Because I think the first year, you know, at least for myself, you know, I still feel a lot of weight significantly, sure, but over the last year, there's been a lot that, you know, a lot of problems we've solved, a lot of, you know, supply line issues we've been able to figure out. So just different things like that a business really has to make sure they have all set up to thrive. You know, a lot of those pieces are figured out, and it's feels less stressed, and like we feel like we're flying more straight on the path that we want to. And also, I think that deals with cutting out some of the strains that maybe we didn't love as much, and we always, you know, try to do that more and more. But I just take, you know, you describing it as a meteoric rise or a, you know, overnight as us just doing our thing and keeping to hunt, you know, new strains, listening to the consumer and trying to better ourselves round after round. Because that's why I like growing so much, is you can really see how much better you do round after round because you're in charge of it all.
Right. Yeah, because I heard of you guys from word of mouth. Actually, shout out to Southland Farms. I heard from you guys from Mike. He was on the podcast. He was telling me, like, look, these guys. You know how Mike talks.
Mike, yeah, Mike.
They're freaking awesome. You know, like, so, yeah, he was telling me about you guys last year, and he invited me to his house last year at an event, and he was like, yeah, I don't know if they're here, but you gotta meet them. Like these guys are fucking amazing. Like, so, yeah, like I could just tell from like even from that point to now, I was just like from like up here to like to somewhere else. Like you guys are.
That was like our first 2 months of
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Alex, you know, likes to go fast too, and I don't like to move slow. We both of us like to continue to push and move forward, because once we get too stagnant, we're over here trying to either solve a problem or create another problem in the process of trying to solve something else, you know? Right. But we're always trying to innovate and do other things to make sure we can push ourselves further. Like I said earlier, like hold that mirror to yourself as a grower, as a processor, because there's always different ways you can grow. We're still in the infancy of this business. Yeah,
for sure. So for like for Solventless, for people who are like new to it, why is Solventless is better? And then how is Solventless different from other extraction methods?
Lab manager?
Well, some people think it's better because there's no hydrocarbons that touch it. So it's just ice, water, and pressure that create it. I mean, water is still technically a solvent, but I think there's less degradation of the actual cannabinoids that you're looking for in the plant. And then from my experience, I feel like the taste that you get from rosin or from solventless products in general is more true to the smell or the taste off of the fresh plant versus a cured plant, because through the curing process there's going to be a little variation in like the smell, and like when stuff's cured right, flower, bud, you can really smell it well. And that's what we try to get in every jar, is the most close representation of the living plant. And I like that. Nothing tastes like it. And not all live resin. There's a few producers that have unique terpenes to their strains, but so much of it is CRC that I feel like it's hard to find anything that's like really unique and stands out.
When you say CRC, can you,
it's like color remediation tech. Okay. So when they're making BHO, they can put really ugly looking stuff in and make it look prettier.
They use like bleaching clays and stuff like that, and they pass it through a column.
Never have to do any of that.
The real technical point is it's in the gas phase, so they pass it all through a column while it's in the gas phase, and different parts of the compounds are left behind in the clays, and then it comes out a lot lighter. So you, like Alex said, you can take outdoor process and it comes out gold.
It can look green or poopy, and then it comes out looking like gold crystals.
Yeah.
So. But that's the other good thing about rosin, is that you can't make it look better. There's nothing we can do to make it better once it's made. Like, it's either good or it's not. Yeah. So there's no fixing it. If it's bad, it's just bad. So
what's the greatest thing about Josh?
We probably have different opinions. My greatest part, I think, I really love leading the team. I get a lot out of being able to have, leading the lab team leading Josh and Taylor on the grow side and everybody, and also working with everybody as a team and being able to win together. Because I didn't really, as a kid, I didn't really do too many team sports, but being here, and being a part of this, it's like, wow, it really shows how important it is to have positivity, be here as a group, really be here for, the reason you're all here, which is a reason higher than yourselves. You're here for the team, you're here for the company, you're here for the terps, right? And that's what I think I get the most out of it, and continuing to build that and seeing how everybody continues to benefit from the cannabis business that Alex and I are building.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think out of the different products is the fan favorite of the brand?
Well, do you have an answer, Alex? I don't want to skip Alex's answer.
Oh, I was just gonna say I get to do something I'm passionate about and make drugs all day. So like if you want to cut and dry, it's pretty cool. It's
not a bad thing.
It's a cool thing we get to do here. Yeah. And always cool to be able to provide something that I would personally use to others. So yeah, that's cool. Sure. All right.
No, I was just saying, like, what is out of the products that you guys make, what are the fan favorites?
So the rosin's popular. Just like
I think people really like the strains or like the product lines.
I'm talking about the product.
Okay.
So the rosin itself is just, that speaks for itself. And then but our disposable line is actually really, really popular.
Okay.
We fly through those. They're all solventless, just decarb rosin and O2 vape,
but never any food grade in them. So the color on the pens is always golden. It's never going to be amber or slightly discolored, and that's one thing that's super important to us, that we try to distinguish ourselves from the competition.
And like you were saying, you've never taken a dab, so that's something that
we are doing after this podcast.
For sure.
That you might not buy a jar because you don't got a puff coat, but you can go buy a disposable and you can take that with you all day. It's and that's just so it's more attainable for a lot of people. Yeah.
And it's it's a really good way for people to enter into experience a brand as well. Like I was saying, it's more attainable. So like,
from a distillate
older people, they may want to get them. Nobody really wants to take a torch, heat up a glass nail, and dab. That kind of feels a little bit foreign, or maybe a little more hard drug like.
It feels hardcore.
Yeah. So the pen's a really nice way to come into it, and for any age group, right? So people who like Karts before that, you could really be like, hey. You like this flavored pen, but why don't you have something, you're health conscious. Right. Why don't you have something that tastes fruity or tastes good still, but there's, it's not resin, it's not distillate, there's no chemical, natural. There's no flavoring, it's all natural. And I think that's a really good selling point and a really, it's a really cool point too, because over the years, if you're consuming, for 50, 60, 70 years of your life, if you're a stoner, right, you don't want to be putting
anything
bad stuff into your body for decades. So really it's top of the line, important. So
yeah, for sure. So like, do you think like the other products on your product lines are underrated, because a lot of people just know like what they usually get as far as like the rosin and the different products? Like what about like the pre-rolls or the other parts of the...
I think the pre-rolls we're getting more and more known for sure. Okay. And those really do so well as well, but I think in terms of most selling, we do like maybe a couple, maybe 1,000 units of those a month, so it's nowhere near as much as like the vapes or the rosin moves, right? So, and just in terms of, number of units, it's a little bit less, but I would say in terms of enjoyment, people really enjoy the hash holes. People enjoy when our full melt comes out, people really enjoy our full melt when we do that. It's always really nice. So, but we only do I think we only dropped like a couple hundred jars so far of full melt.
Yeah.
In the last year and a half.
You say they're underrated.
So, I think it's just giving more time for people to interact with certain products, right? And, you said earlier, kind of, rose really quickly, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people know us. So I think that's just because we continue to put out more and more fire, and the more you put out, the more people will recognize what this is. And then also there's that education element that comes in, because some people may never want to try melt, some people may, but if they don't know about it, they're never going to try it. And there's after you get to melt too, you get like that cold cure melt, that piatella, if you've heard about piatella, and then there's dry sift. So there's inside of those categories there's a whole bunch of different things. So it all comes down to really being able to have those conversations, the education, and making sure that you have, those products available. Right. And it's hard to produce, thousands of grams of full melts, and it's hard to make 10,000 doinks a month because they're all hand rolled. So some of these things are just harder to do, and they are a little bit more select and small batch just because it takes more time to do them.
Yeah, for sure. So what about edibles?
Well, I think, right? I think now's the time. So actually, we're launching an edible line in September. So probably maybe first week September, second week September.
Okay.
But definitely looking right now September 15th. They'll be out. We're looking at having a launch party somewhere in Kalamazoo around the 20th, maybe the 21st. So they're all rosin infused. They're I have to get all this stuff right. I have to remember the packaging. They are
GMO, gluten-free.
Yeah, they're vegan, non-GMO.
Yeah. Candies,
It's a gummy. Yep.
Gummies.
Yep. They are they're fruit flavors, 5 different flavors, and they're a blend of all of our edible grade rosin. Okay. So, but they taste great. They don't leave any kind of weird coating in your mouth. They're not like I've pulled out gummies before from bags, and the bag is still sticky because maybe they didn't infuse it right or something, or maybe I don't know if they're sprayed, but the quality on the gummy is great, and also the mouth feel when you chew into it. It's all pectin, and so it just feels like it's just melting in your mouth, almost like Wagyu.
Yeah.
So, what milligram would it be?
They're 200 milligrams per package, 10 gummies per pack, and then every gummy is scored diagonally. Okay. So you kind of know where the 10 milligram mark is. Yep.
What's your top 5 strands that you like, just in general, over your stoner
careers?
What's your top 5 strands?
Anything like papaya, the really fruity papaya with a little bit of that funky feet in it, that true papaya.
Yeah.
That papaya's up there. That's in my top 5. So got there. We got I would say. I like Rainbow Belts or Z. We can kind of include that in the same category, right? Rainbow Belt, Z, Zushi, right? All kind of So those, because they're all kind of similar profiles. Probably our grape guava that we just started doing. That's really up there for me.
Okay.
I would say our front porch sitting. That's really up there. And outside of that, there is I was telling, I forget which one I was talking about it with earlier, but it was a jar from Connoisseur Creations. That I think it was called. It was pink lemonade X papaya or something like that, but it was so delicious. Pink pineapples, Connoisseur's pink pineapples that they dropped. That was something that I still think is just delicious beyond compare.
Yeah,
I'm stuck. Front porch sitting out of our lineup here. I won't stop talking about it. Flower, I miss. There's some silver pearl that I had back in the day. That was awesome. Okay. Some Blue Dreams, Green Crack. I like the lighter stuff that I can still function on. You go back to that Jäger Kush that I was talking about earlier. We used to get it in from Oregon, and it's just dark purple buds. Smoke a joint of that before bed, and you're out in 5 minutes. It was the strongest indica. I'm not big on sativa indica, but it was the sleepiest weed that you ever smoked. I miss it.
Yeah. So do you guys like rosin more than flower?
Yeah, I do. I consume 99.9% rosin.
If I could smoke weed in my living room, I would smoke more weed than rosin for sure. But I can't do that right now. So I do smoke more rosin at the moment. But I'm a really big flower guy. I like rolling up.
Right. So for somebody that is newer to cannabis, what would you say is the differences between rosin and actually smoking flower? Obviously, it's the difference with
I think flower's a more full body high for sure, even than rosin. Rosin's going to give you a more full body high than a distillate or a resin or something like that would. But truly, flower will always give you the most. And definitely, to this day when we smoke, I get probably a little bit gigglier off of flower personally.
Yeah.
Find it to be maybe a little bit more therapeutic in different ways. And some of those more strains may exist in rosin too. But I think rosin, and the reason why I like rosin so much then is it's a little more clear,
right?
And you feel like you get really stoned, but maybe a little not so much body feel, but so you can still be a little more active. But then there's still some rosins, you smoke them and you're just done. Yeah. But I would say those are the two primary differences, and then just in the consumption, when you're smoking flower, if you're smoking flower, you're always smoking carcinogens. And so that's just from a standpoint of health, that's something to look at it from too.
Yeah, for sure. So so as far as like the branding and the marketing, like when you guys are coming up with the packaging, like how are y'all? What's the steps in the process that you guys do to come up with it, and then how important is like the branding and for the Apex brand as far as like what people see when they go to the stores?
Yes, I mean, I would say the branding is very important. We like to make sure it all has a personal touch, and if it has especially like the higher tier items and the special items we put out, we definitely do custom designs for those things to kind of signify the speciality of it.
Yeah.
But outside of that, we really should try to include a lot of dinosaur theme because, Apex, Predator, dinosaurs in our logo. So that's what we try to include a lot of. And just really try to make it look cool.
I just like make it make sense, like not overthink it too much usually. Yeah. A lot of the times, like especially when it comes to marketing, like the stuff that fits, like the ideas that fit, that come up with like a cohesive project, cohesive blend. That's usually what does the best. Just and a lot of that is market perception. So like whether for whatever reason, whether it's like an excellent combo or not, people love combos, so like they're gonna react to a combo no matter what it is. Yeah. But we do like to curate them a little bit more than that, just so that things make sense on the marketing side as well as on the flavor side.
For sure. So just to take a step back, how did you guys come up with the name
Apex? Well, it stands for Alex Parker Extracts, and then it also just one day we were coming up with it, and Alex really likes excision and dinosaurs.
Like dubstep.
The themology at Lost Lands that's put on. So, we kind of thought about that a little bit, and then kind of just blended it all together. And, as we were building, we were just like, let's make some goofy dinosaurs that are wash and hash and, kind of make some funny slogans like, we try to do join the hunt, right? Because we hunt a lot of different plants. Yeah. And so also hunt our jars out. So that's kind of our logo, or our motto, I guess you should say. But then, we just try to make it fun, and we really want the stuff just to, to hit with the consumer and be cool and fun. And I think, dinosaurs with dreads that, struggle to grab a paddle because they have short arms. I mean, that's funny to me. Yeah. And I think it kind of hits, So yeah, that's how I think, we came about with it.
Going back into the marketing side of it, how has it been marketing the product as far as obviously when you were caregivers, you were able to talk to people, but going from caregiver to metric, how do you see the marketing side differently when you don't have necessarily that person-to-person interaction like you do when you were caregiver?
I say now more than ever, the quality of what's in the jar matters, right? Because if we're not able to make that face-to-face, then we don't get to explain what happened. Right. So if something didn't come out the way we wanted it to, we don't.
The strain's a little bit drier, but naturally.
There's no face-to-face explanation. It's just consumer looking at it. Oh, that's dry. I don't want it. So, and not to say that they shouldn't anyway, but now it just matters. QC is the most important thing. So making sure that everything that goes out is 100% something that we want to see in a consumer's hands.
And then backing that up, though, I think with the marketing, you're asking, marketing is more important now than it was on the caregiver side because you couldn't really be your best man and show your stuff out there and have everybody see it. But now, you really need to. You really make sure your designs are cohesive, they're on point, you have some good theme to it, and that, you like it too. I think that's one of the biggest things is when, companies don't like their own kind of branding. Yeah. Makes it hard for you to sell your own shit. They're like, yeah, we did a redesign of our logo, but it's whatever. It's that's, that's really important. So that's why Alex and I, we'll talk about it, and we'll, sometimes we have disagreements because we really care about how something should look, why it should look this way, because we want the consumer's perception to be, a certain way on different products. And that's why.
How involved are you guys in the marketing now, seeing that is a much larger company? Are you guys have your own brand ambassadors? Or are you still working in a metric and big business standpoint, but also are still hitting the points of going to these different places yourselves?
Yeah, so we're still hands-on with with the marketing side as well and design, but also customer facing as much as we can. We try to get out there to do those dab bars, be in front of consumers in that way. If we have to be present for vendor days or different activities like that, we love being out there. And so we also use we have a distribution company that helps us out, and they help us get in front of some people and make sure, that we can kind of reach more in the state, and they definitely help out with that. But it's really important always as an owner, if you're there telling your own story, to get in front of it and to get it out there for everybody to hear.
But as far as all the marketing and like ideas and artwork and stuff like that, that's from our heads. So we have an artist that we work with, and then we'll discuss an idea and get some artwork made up and play around with it, fine tune it, and then put it out. So it's usually a pretty quick process though, like a week start to finish on coming up with an idea and then putting it out.
How has it been using you as a distributor and kind of having that external marketing to promote the brand?
I think it's been very helpful overall. You have to put what you get into anything, right? It's not a perfect system. It's something where you have to, they're your arm where you can reach out to them and help them plan, or they'll help you plan and kind of help where you need to go when you're targeting. But if your product's not on point, if you don't have good messaging and you don't have everything on point on that end, you're still going to miss in the market, because it's, now that it is a big market and it is real, and legal, it does require, more things to be elevated, more serious level of attention. And that's just kind of how it plays out.
Kind of going back into the marketing, like talked about the social media aspect, like we've all had cannabis pages that get shut down. Like, do you think it is ever be a time to where, like, as creators or as business owners like yourself, we can be able to promote the plant and our brands without any interruption?
That'd be nice.
Hopefully one day, yeah. Hopefully one day.
Federal laws are affecting that a lot right now.
Yeah. Well, it's also to have a bigger outlook on it too. It's like, if you can have kids just get on and see stuff whenever, right? Like, I don't want to necessarily have kids get on and just be able to see drugs underage or alcohol, and they may already see it anyway in other media. But I do think there's an argument to be had if you can limit that, right? Not necessarily should be had, right? When people advertise and seeing Apex vape pens to a 14-year-old, right?
Right. But also, I feel like if you educate kids more, the less likely they are to pick up on certain things. Like, kids are devious when they don't know, when you don't tell them what is needed.
Yeah, I think I don't think that's necessarily maybe the companies, to do that. Yeah, we should focus on other stuff necessarily.
Yeah, for sure.
Parents.
Do you guys ever collab with other brands or companies alike? Yeah,
we collab on we do wash some fresh frozen for a couple of companies. Shout out Black Label Michigan. They always have great stuff. And then every hash roll we do is a collab, so we don't cure any of our own flowers, so we source all that in and then put our rosin with all the hash rolls. So we work with 5 or 6.
Plant Nerd, Voyage Bloom, Lake State Canna. Shout out to Frank. His runs is amazing.
Shout out to them.
Ragdoll.
I forget the name of the growing side, but the dispensary side is Cannabis. I forget the growing side of it. But we just did a collab. Should be out soon with their Yellow Mermaid. Mm-hmm. So we called that one Under the Z, because it's under the Yellow Mermaid with our yellow tail.
I see what you did there. Yeah.
Under the Z.
What about like strands that you like? I know we talked about it off the record, but like, what are some strands that aren't on the menu that you both want to see, like, as an expansion?
Yeah, probably just. I could go on forever. Just constantly fruitier, funkier combinations of fruitier, funkier, and stuff that we haven't found before. Like stuff that truly smells like cherries. Something that really reeks of blueberries and wash as well and has a good consistency. So. That's what I'm just all trying to find. I said, Maui Wowie, something that just has a strain. But, if I were to hunt Maui Wowie, I would, my ideal Maui Wowie would be like a pineapple whip, like a pineapple coconut, something like a Hawaiian font. Yeah. But not like fruit punch, like pineapple coconut. Right. Yeah.
I just want to breed all the hitters. I want wedding pie bread with everything. I want front porch sitting bread with I want to see what all of our best strains look like together. I want to feno-hunt all that. And just see what happens.
Like a multiverse.
Literally, just like if we could somehow breed every one of our best strains all at the same time, and then pheno-hunt them all at the same time, and then next year around this time have a brand new set of genetics that's just mixies of all that. It's not possible.
We have too many strains to cross them all at once. Working on it.
That's a 5-year plan.
So like, what are the future goals like for the brand?
So I would like to drop. We'd like to continue to drop new products. So I think we're getting some of our rosin pucks processed for with ethanol. So we're gonna advertise that as like a full spectrum hash oil at some point in the future. And there's a couple other options down that line.
That'd be fire.
The gummies, we want to do more of like not even more of. We want to do a strain specific gummy drops, so that we can say like, hey, like grape soda is in this flavor, or papaya's in this one. So that's something that we really like to do. Really expand the roll side and make sure that we're cranking on rolls and do some. We have like ours rolls right now are 2.5 grams, so we want to do some smaller ones too.
Okay.
And then like we always say, just continue to hunt more plants and find new stuff and stuff that smells better, smells crazier, smells different, and finishes creamy and white.
Yeah, for sure. Any shout outs y'all want to give out?
My wife. Thank you.
It's really, like, I have never, like, publicly said it. I should probably do something like this on Instagram at some point. But straight up, shouts out to everybody, every single person that helped me get here, helped us get here. And every person that ever supported us, every person that ever showed up at the events, every person that ever cooked us a meal or let us
gave us a place to stay.
Yeah, like, straight up. It's been a dream.
Helped us push our rosin.
but yeah, we really didn't do it alone, like, at all. So it's been fun.
I know what I wanted to ask y'all. Why Niles? Because you guys could have literally went anywhere. You could have went to any city in Michigan. You could have went to California. You could have went to different states. Like, obviously, there's a connection with Indiana and Michigan, of course.
Yep.
But like, from your own personal perspective, like, why Niles?
We have some friends up here that are friends of people that maybe one of us or both of us met in college or around that time. So we have some people that we know in the area. But outside of that, shout out to the city of Niles. They are very welcoming for cannabis businesses. It was pretty straightforward to get licensed overall. As new new operators in the space. Yeah. And the city, I think, being a little more rural, gave us a little bit more. You don't have to compete as much with the cost of living in the cities or the price per square foot for some of the facilities. Yep. So you have a little more flexibility, and not to mention, the air quality is just wonderful, and it's nice being out here where it's beautiful and all year round. Even when it's snowy, it's beautiful. You go skiing.
For sure.
Hit the pens on the slopes.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate y'all coming on the platform. You guys are very great guys. You are very hospitable. You gave us a tour and was educating us on the different processes. The brand is fire. I appreciate y'all coming on the podcast.
Yeah. Thank you for having us. Appreciate being on here.
No problem. And this was SmokeSum Podcast. This is the visionary mind. I see it, I think it, I make it happen. SmokeSum, Apex. We out.